looking for a... Oh, there we go. When do we start? Whenever you want? We can go? Okay, fantastic. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to welcome back, of course, CEO Rick McConnell. We have CTO Bernd Greifeneder. Welcome to both of you. I can't believe how quickly these events go. We put all this planning into it. Suddenly it's almost over. I'm going to ask you both, what are your key takeaways so far? Rick, I'll start with you.
Well, key takeaway number one is where we started on Mainstage on the first day, which is that I really think that customers and partners and others are embracing the notion that observability is no longer optional, that it is mandatory,
yes.
And it's mandatory now. The second piece is that they're trying to figure out how to move Dynatrace deployment from isolated single applications or small handful of application deployments to really broad-based enterprise usage.
Right.
I was talking to one customer who said that they were getting quizzed by senior leadership. And the quiz was, wait a minute, why do we have so many incidents if we have Dynatrace?
Right.
My heart sort of dropped for a moment, and I was fearful of the answer. And then they said, yes, but my answer was that we don't have incidents in the areas where we're using Dynatrace. The incidents are coming somewhere else.
Right. So you've got to spread it across the whole
And
workload.
so you needed it more broadly. So if number one, it's that observability is becoming mandatory or is mandatory. Number two is you really want broad-based usage. And then number three, I think, is the connection of that to business value, which we talked a lot about on Mainstage.
And do you feel that the urgency is there, the urgency to make these changes sooner rather than later?
Well, I'd like to think that the biggest demonstration of urgency is by just looking around the room here at Perform and looking at Mainstage, where you see a couple of thousand customers and partners plus numerous others online who are voting with their time to engage with Dynatrace in this journey.
For sure. Bernd, you also have been remarkably busy, very much in demand over the last couple of days. What are your key takeaways?
The first one is that those customer presentations on stage were awesome, and I really thanks for all of that. And it really has shown actually that the new Dynatrace that I promised last year actually has now taken its adoption and also arrived at the business level. And this is the other key part, because this shows how we actually have redefined Dynatrace and also the value of it. I mean, presenting all the sort of 9 value propositions to business leaders was, to be honest, a bit of an experiment that I wanted to do at Perform. But just getting the question back, I want the use cases for all of them, and the resonance to the 100+ use cases shows me that we have hit the nail, and that we are now really at the stage where customers can go big and gain more value also for the business side.
There must be a sense of pride when you see customers go up on stage and basically talk about their experiences with software and technology that you've helped to create. My question to you is, how often are you surprised with how the customers interact with the solutions versus what might have been your original driving idea?
Oh, this is almost with everyone. So this is like being a kid. So you see one customer, how the customer is using your product. I feel each and every time totally excited, and this makes me truly proud.
And I was going to say, Rick, pride's got to be there. You see the customers up there, they wouldn't get on that stage unless they really liked what they were talking about.
Oh, no, it's absolutely the case. I've mentioned this many times along the way, but growing revenue, building a profitable, successful business is an amazing journey. It really is. But nothing makes me more proud than the engagement of customers telling us the value that they add to their businesses.
Right.
And I suppose the next piece of it is that nothing makes me more proud than having Dynatrace people, Dynatracers, come up to me and say, I'm so proud of the company that we're part of.
Outstanding. Bernd, I'll bounce it back to you. Obviously, we're all still here in the middle of Perform. We've got the evening tonight, but then everyone's going to be heading home. What do you hope our audience, your customers and our partners are going to be taking home in terms of their takeaways?
I hope that the take home that AI is not just AI, that there are different variants of it, because it's, as Maria yesterday said, the AI that everyone right now is using with ChatGPT is actually non-deterministic.
Right.
So none of you would want to have a car driven by that kind of AI, because you never know whether it drives you into the river. So this means also you wouldn't want to use that type of AI to run your IT and to automate.
Yes.
So, and this is where the key takeaway is then understand that this type of AI that everyone is talking about is great to get assistance from. But in order to automate your IT, you need a different one. That is the causal and predictive AI. And this is why we have built hypermodal AI. And maybe the other one of the takeaway from the session yesterday from Maria, she mentioned composite AI is actually the combination of AIs. This is exactly what we do. So the Dynatrace Davis hypermodal AI is a variant of composite AI, just to link it together. And our approach is deterministic. This means we don't drive into the river.
That's right. You want to try to avoid driving into a river at every opportunity. Yeah, you're right. Maria Markstetter's insights opened a lot of eyes in our audience, of course. So I'll ask really the same question. What do you hope our audience takes away with them?
Well, I hadn't really thought about not driving into the river as one of the answers, but I'm really going to.
It's a good one.
I'm now going to add this to my repertoire of responses for the future. But that is to some extent exactly right.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it is how do we render businesses operating so much better than they would otherwise? The other thing I would say, Mark, is we really do want customers, partners, and others walking out of Perform realizing that not all observability solutions and application security solutions are created equal.
Yeah.
That it is a huge differentiator for us to deliver the contextual analytics Bernd was talking about for hypermodal AI and the automation that we deliver. These are monumentally different sets of capabilities than we see elsewhere in our industry, and they're enormous promoters of success of business as we go. So that's a key element.
I 100% agree. And on the subject of AI, it has become front and center of so many conversations. I guess my question to both of you, very briefly, is how much is the AI revolution changing the Dynatrace story? Not necessarily the path, but the story of Dynatrace. I'd love to get comments from both of you on that. Bernd?
The answer is very multifolded because it goes into different directions. It's definitely changing alone when you look at how software is being created with
Right.
GenAI generating code. This means we have already the proof that the code gets more complex, there's more redundancy, harder to maintain. You apply more AI on top in order to fix the code. Basically, it ends up probably in a disaster sort of if you do not apply proper observability to it. So I think this means it's just yet the next level where you need even more observability in order to help tame this beast.
Perfect. And Rick, in many ways, it's like an accelerant, I assume.
It's true. I have to say, though, that was the shortest answer on AI I've ever heard Bernd give. It usually it can go on for a long time, and it never gets boring, and it's always quite interesting, and it's always quite perfect in terms of that analytics. What I would say is my answer to your prior question was not all observability and application security solutions are created equal.
Yes.
Sort of explain that. I would say that what we're really trying to convey here is that not all AI is created equal. Over the last year, somebody says AI, and oftentimes, I'd say more often than not, they mean generative AI. And this is where you have hallucinations, and you have data that is maybe suspect, that produces a terrific outcome that is completely wrong based upon an underlying data set that is just not valid. And what we're suggesting is a model of AI for observability that by being hypermodal links generative AI and natural language with very deterministic causal and predictive AI that gives confirmed answers that you can trust. And that is a world that is vastly, vastly different than one that is exclusively oriented to productivity improvements, but based on potentially erroneous data that isn't deterministic.
We don't need those hallucinations here, that's for sure.
No hallucinations.
No hallucinations. We'll make a pin out of that, put it on jackets.
That sounds good.
We're going to talk about this on Mainstage later, but I know it really matters to you what the culture of Dynatrace is. How do you define it to anyone that might ask you that question?
We define it probably in many ways. It's certainly got a lot of heart, a lot of passion, a lot of interest, but the simplest way that I think both Bernd and I would define it would emanate from our values. And those are innovate with passion, engage with purpose, and win with integrity. And if I were to dismantle those a little bit or dissect them a little bit, I would say that innovation is the heart blood of the company that Bernd began in 2005. Innovation is everything for us. We always want to be at the forefront of innovation, and we do it with heart. And it isn't just about product. It is throughout the company. The second piece of engaging with purpose is with regard to all of our constituencies. It's with regard to customers, partners, employees, community, this notion of engagement and really engaging collaboratively in a way that suggests a team-oriented approach. And then lastly is winning with integrity, that we are going to be a trustworthy organization always. And I think what that amounts to is that we engage with tenacity, but humility, we listen well, and we build an organization that people really have pride in being part of, but also that customers and partners and others have pride in engaging with us to have created.
It's a great answer. Thank you for that. Well, we're almost out of time for our chat here on second stage in front of these fabulous people. You're going to be on Mainstage again later, but any parting words to this audience, to people watching this right now, final thoughts as we enter the main part of 2024 and beyond?
Yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to hear from customers implementing one or more of the 100+ use cases that we have presented. We want to hear about their experiences, want to hear about new use cases that they put on top of Dynatrace, and see more stunning presentations of that next perform.
Absolutely. Rick?
I would just want to express my gratitude to all those people who've come to be part of Perform, to engage with us here at Dynatrace. Your feedback, your input has huge impact for us. As I said in the response to the culture question, we listen well, or at least we try very hard to listen well, and we're gonna win based on effort and focus and passion, and we want that engagement for many years to come. So we're anxious to continue to build those relationships with each of you.
Great conversation. We will leave it there. Rick and Bernd, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.